But why don't we bring in our guests?
I think we should. We've got John Carlton and Diane Dehoney here with us to chat about the upcoming 2026 spring season of the Frankfort Heritage Lecture Series. Good morning, John and Diane.
Good morning.
Thank you all for having us.
Yeah, thank you all so much for being here. So let's talk. We know the Frankfort Heritage Lecture Series. You guys have been doing it since October of 23. Is that right?
October of 23.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's been, you've had some pop-up lectures here and there, but it's typically the second Saturday of the month.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
We've had over 30 lectures since October 23.
Wow.
So,
Talk to me about this year's a little different. You guys are tying in a little more with the America 250 project.
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So 2026 is the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and the Kentucky legislature created two commissions, as we were discussing earlier. One with the Kentucky Historical Society, and I believe the other is out of Harrodsburg. And we have joined forces with the Kentucky Historical Society's America 250 KY. And so, this season is more in the context of America 250, things that make Frankfort and Kentucky special through the lens of America 250. So,
And Diane, I know, and John, it's cool. I know it's really cool for you to see the amount of people that come to these lecture series. But Diane, it's got to be a really nice partnership, of course, with the lecture series and the library hosting these events. But just seeing the amount of people.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's been wonderful. It was a natural fit when John came to me with the idea. I said, absolutely, we want to partner on this. Of course, John came to us as the organizer of Frankfort Heritage Week and the Frankfort Heritage Coalition. And really, both of us were just very interested, not only in getting these lectures out there and getting these folks in front of an audience, but to record it. And we really appreciate Cable 10 for being there every month to record those, so we have them for the future.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and it's cool to see because, like you said, Cable 10, we always record the lecture series, and we've got them on our YouTube channel as well, and you can find them on the library site as well, the links to it. But it's always cool to me to see when we put those on YouTube and air them on Cable 10, just the amount of people that fill the room. And there's still there's a desire and an interest in Frankfort's history. Yeah,
absolutely. It's been really interesting to cover topics that people really didn't know about or actually want to know about. Some of them are more popular than others, but some of those topics are still extremely worth discussing and recording and documenting.
Yeah.
And it's not just covering the topics, but also having the perspective of some of the professionals that are the speakers, because they're generally the top of their field. The executive director or the state geologist for the Kentucky Geological Survey. Or
one thing that's been great about that is not only have we been able to have local folks and Kentucky folks come in who are experts on these topics and in their fields, but also we've been able to bring some really wonderful speakers in from out of state, and we've got one of those that we're really excited about on the spring season that we'll talk a little bit more about.
Sure.
Our first one of the spring season, believe it or not, is this weekend.
It is.
It is.
Saturday.
Absolutely, yep. So we've got Jim Tidwell, who is Professor Emeritus of Aquaculture and Aquatic Sciences at Kentucky State University. He just retired. I believe he'd been professor and then the chair there for somewhere around 30 years.
Wow.
So he's, really responsible for developing the world-renowned aquaculture program that Kentucky State University has. And so he partnered with Jim Henley, Doug Henley, who was a fisheries research biologist at the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife, to discuss the Kentucky River, which is, of course, one of the main reasons Frankfort exists. It is prominently on both of our old and new flags. And so they're going to be discussing the Kentucky River, how history affects biology and biology affects history. As aquaculture people. They're interested in the biology of the Kentucky River. And so we're really excited about that. The Kentucky River, like I said, is prominently on our flags. It was the reason the Buffalo Trace exists here, the reason the Native Americans were here. It is the reason that the McAfees came to Frankfort to survey, or actually stumbled upon Frankfort and they decided to survey Frankfort and Leestown in 1773. It's the reason that the first steamboat in Leestown was built here in 1813, around there. And the reason that commerce and James Wilkinson decided to establish the capital here. So it is the reason that Frankfort exists, and so that I felt that was a great way to start the series off this season.
Yeah.
And speaking of commerce, we'll have a lecture later on in the season
Absolutely.
that will address that with Charles Bogart. So.
Sure. Oh, great. Well, and there's a couple more lectures in January. One's a pop-up, and the other is the rescheduled lecture from December.
Correct.
When we had that winter weather kind of roll through on the Friday right before. But tell me about the pop-up first.
Yeah, so Sophia
Liberty
Watson,
Hall.
who is the new, is it art historian? Is that the new one?
I think it is.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we've got, interpreter and art historian, right?
She had a
Liberty Hall.
previous title, and
She just got an updated
Okay.
position there, title.
so she's interpreter and art historian at Liberty Hall Historic Site, and she's going to be discussing Portray Me, a look into Liberty Hall's portraiture. So Liberty Hall has an extensive collection of portraiture from all periods of Frankfort's history. And they have a new exhibit that they released, I think, somewhere in November, October, November, December, somewhere around there. And so we felt it was a good opportunity to have her come and talk about what they have discovered and researched in preparation for their exhibit. So that's our pop-up for January 22nd at 1 o'clock.
No, that one's in the evening.
Oh, that's in the evening. Sorry.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So that'll be a Thursday,
yes.
right? At
6 o'clock.
At 6 p.m.
At 6 p.m. Yes.
And again, they're all at the library, right? And the library is River Room
Yes.
there. And then the rescheduled lecture is rescheduled for January 24.
Right. Our December lecture this year was Charlene Fletcher, who is the Francis S. Fessler Assistant Professor of History and Director for the Hub of Black Affairs and Community Engagement at Butler University in Indianapolis. And she's going to be coming back to talk about Home Ain't Always Where the Heart Is, Black Women and Confinement in the Gilded Age Bluegrass. She's been studying the old Kentucky penitentiary that was in Frankfort for the last 10 years, and she's got a book getting ready to come out about it. So we wanted to have her come and talk about her research on the Kentucky penitentiary and the African American community, because it wasn't just Frankfort there. They were prisoners from all over the state. People who were out of state but committed crimes in Frankfort or in Kentucky were housed there, and so that's a really great talk. And she's like I said, she's coming in from Indianapolis.
Oh, wow. I'm glad she was able to make a rescheduled date.
Absolutely.
Date for you guys. Sounds like she's busy with a book coming out, too.
We're very excited, looking forward to hearing that. So we're very lucky to be able to reschedule her so quickly.
Sure. And she was still willing to come in for the winter storm, but we were like, no. Don't do it.
Like, let's keep you safe. And let's, yeah.
So,
and then we got a couple more, right? We got one in, we've got all the way out into June, but today we're just going to chat a little bit more about the February and March lectures, right?
So, I guess in February 7th at 1 p.m., that's a Saturday, one of our regular ones. We've got Sharon Cox, who is a researcher and collector, and she's also the wife of Matt Cox, who's already done 2 lectures, one on furniture and another one on portraiture of Matthew Jewett. And so she's coming because she's going to talk about Harry Mordecai, who is an African-American plasterer in early to mid Frankfort. And he is responsible for doing the plaster work in the old state capitol. He is responsible for doing some of the brick and plaster work at Orlando Brown House, and he was an extremely famous plasterer and bricklayer. He has an interesting story, kind of like Frederick Douglass on one hand, and then on the other hand, not so much. He started as an enslaved person, became emancipated, and then became a slaveholder himself. So there's an interesting story there of just the dynamics of the institution of enslavement. But, one of the things we discovered through the African American Historic Context Report that was done a few years ago was that kind of as we thought would probably be the case, enslaved people were responsible for building much of downtown. And so I thought that was a great, kind of ode to that as well. And so, she's already kind of written a mini biography on him. There's not a lot of information available, but what she has, she's worked at Liberty Hall. She's worked with people who have studied him, worked with the Kentucky Historical Society. So she has a lot of information to provide and kind of document that story for us.
Yeah, honestly, sounds like a very fascinating
We do
story.
want to make one special note about the February main series lecture.
Yeah.
Usually that's the second Saturday of the month, but this February it's going to be the first Saturday.
That's right.
Valentine's
The
Day.
second Saturday is Valentine's
yeah.
Day, so we figured people might have plans.
Yeah, that's probably a good call. Yeah. And then next one on March 14th.
Sure. Yeah.
On
So-
early Kentucky governors.
Right, and so if you can kind of see, like I said, every topic has a local, a state, and a national kind of importance. The Liberty Hall Historic Site, which the Orlando Brown House is part of, is a National Historic Landmark. Old State Capitol is a National Historic Landmark, and Harry Mordecai worked on both of those. Here, the Kentucky governors obviously have both a local, because we're the capital city, but they're the state governors, and they kind of guide Kentucky on a national basis, not just statewide and local. So Charles Wesco, who is the Civil War Governors of Kentucky project manager at the Kentucky Historical Society, will be doing Commanding the Capital, Early Kentucky Governors and Their Role in Shaping Kentucky. So we're really excited to have him. I've been in talks with Chuck, his nickname, for a year or two, and he's kind of been on my radar for 3 years. Wanted to get him here, so we're glad we were able to pull him in.
Nice. And he's part of the spring schedule, and that's obviously not all of it.
Oh, that's March 14th at 1 o'clock, so that's a regular second Saturday.
Right. And you've got more, and you can see kind of the full schedule here or of the regular ones. This doesn't
Right.
show the pop-up and the rescheduled ones, but you've got lectures out in April and May and June, and John and Diane would love to have you guys back later on in March or early April, just to
Sure.
chat about more in depth about the rest of those 3 dates,
Absolutely.
and into Heritage Week that we coming up
Well,
in May as
Yes.
well.
Absolutely, sure.
And we just want to remind everyone that these lectures are at the Paul Sawyer Public
Yes.
Library, which is right downtown on Wapping Street.
They're free.
They are,
And they're free to
they
entry.
are
Yeah,
free.
that's important to
Yes,
note.
very
Yeah.
important note. And to register, we do ask that you register if possible. We're not going to turn you away if you don't, but just so we can prepare and know how many chairs. You can register by stopping by the library, calling the library, or you can go on our website at www.pspl.org/FHLS. And then there we have our past speakers archived.
That's right.
So you can go back and see what we've had before and then what's coming up.
That's right.
We need to ask you two really quick if there's something you're planning to leave behind in 2025.
Let's keep it deep here today.
Oh, you went first.
Okay, I mean, I don't want to be a copycat, but mine is pretty much the same as Zach. Just kind of leaving some of that negative self-talk behind and giving myself more grace
Good.
in 2026.
We all deserve that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say more along his lines instead of what I'm leaving behind. What I'm looking forward to or bringing with me is probably taking care of myself a little better, and on the leaving behind part, leaving the stress behind.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, not letting those things affect you quite as much.
Right, and then on your part, I've made strides towards removing myself from social media a lot, and so continuing with that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Healthy things to do.
Yeah. Diane, should we not let you go before you're making the face? You already know what I'm going to ask you.
I know.
Yeah,
Listen,
we have to do it.
I will say, this is all I will say, is I'm a true blue fan. I bleed blue. I am part of the Big Blue Nation. I'm not gonna give up on them yet. I'm not. I know a lot of people are throwing up their hands and calling for people to be run on a rail and everything, but I'm not there, and I'm gonna support them. But Saturday was sad. But Wednesday will be here soon, and hopefully the team we want to see will show up. So
let me ask you this, and let me not let you off quite that easy. Do you have, would it be fair to say you have concerns about the direction?
I do have concerns. But listen, I think Mark Pope is a lovely person. I really like him a lot. I really like him a lot, and I want this to work out for him.
Well, I think we all want it to work. Yes. Yep.
And speaking of giving people grace,
yes,
you want to give Mark Pope grace,
I
right?
absolutely do. I think he's a good guy. So.
Yeah, just got some things we need to figure out. I think it was a big job for him, kind of early in his career. Like, even though he's older, he spent 10 years he kind of lost as far as like he didn't go straight into coaching, and I think he's still got some things to
work through.
Figure out about this level of college basketball, which they all do. It's a completely different world.
Oh yeah,
everything's changed.
That's true.
Okay. Thanks, guys, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you all for
so much
having
for
us.
having us, as always.
And we'll see you again soon. And in the meantime, though, we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll see what our viewers maybe have thoughts on their on the question of the day, and lots more after this.